Well, as you mentioned, Alison, a state of emergency has been declared in the capital and three other regions in the country, including Cusco and Puno, which saw the worst of the deadly violence which took place last week. That state of emergency will mean that it will be in place for 30 days, and it means that the army can intervene to maintain order, and it also means that the right to assembly and to transit will also be limited for people. It comes after protests on Thursday and on Saturday in the capital, which didn't see injuries or deaths, but did take place massively across the city. And the demands again are that Dina Boluarte, the president, step down, also that the Congress is closed, and for fresh elections. And Dina Boluarte actually addressed the nation late on Friday night. She said that she would not resign, but she also apologized for the deaths, but blamed radical groups for stoking the violence. And she said she couldn't close Congress. That wasn't something that she was able to do constitutionally, but she was pushing for the chamber to make a second vote, which would finalize bringing forward elections by 2 years to 2024. But many political analysts say that's simply too far off.
And Dan, there are investigations underway over authorities' use of deadly force. What's the latest that we know about that?
Yes, well, the Attorney General's office is investigating or has launched inquiries into some of the 36 deaths which have occurred over the last 40 days. And the top prosecutor has also opened an inquiry, a preliminary inquiry, into Boluarte and her leading ministers, the defense and interior ministers, for, I quote, genocide and homicide. But there are also regional bodies which are investigating what took place in Peru. A mission of the Inter-American Commission on Human Rights ended a visit just last week, and they have called on the government to guarantee the proportionate use of force, as they put it, and also to foster dialogue. And the vice president of the organization pointed out that they'd received reports of shots being fired on protesters with lethal, as he put it, lethal and high caliber weapons in violation of the principle of the gradual use of force. Human Rights have also reiterated those claims, and we do now know that most of the protesters, according to post-mortem reports, died from gunshot wounds. For the security forces, for their part, say they came under attack from some protesters who were using homemade weapons and explosives. But human rights groups have said that the security forces used live rounds and were also firing tear gas canisters from helicopters.